what is a legend? A legend is somebody who does something extraordinary, and it could be something extraordinary within their own community, within their own affinity group, or internationally. But today, we're going to meet a living legend. Somebody you know. You might know his face. You may know the movies he's been in, but you really don't know him. And so we hopefully will be able to get to know him on this episode of Living Legend. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome my guest, Jeffrey Anderson Gunter. Hey, and the crowd goes wild. Hi, Jeffrey.
Hello. How are you doing?
I'm good. It is good to have you in my space. I have to tell people that we're actually in Jamaica together at the same time.
Yes.
And for me, it's very poignant that we're doing it here in Jamaica, land of your birth.
It's a wonderful thing. It's always good to come home and work, or visit and work, vacation and work. It's always
nice to be home.
Yeah.
And home at the time when East Indian mango.
An abundance of East Indian mango.
Does that mean you're going back to California a few pounds heavier?
No, because I'm working out every day still.
Okay.
Yeah,
good.
So I eat them in the morning so that I can burn them off during the day.
That's actually my theory too.
Yeah, you don't go to sleep on them because then you'll wake up with them on your sides.
Yes, and bami and fish and everything.
All of that.
Nice.
Good
to be home.
Great to be home.
So we all know you're Jamaican because you don't hide it, and
No.
your accent is the same. How many years you been in foreign now?
Over 50.
Okay.
Over 50 years. Yeah.
So over 50 years, and your accent is still Jamaican. We sound Jamaican, but tell us about growing up in Jamaica. What was that like for you?
At an early age, I had to assume responsibilities. My mom migrated early, in the 60s, and she had split up with my dad. So it was just my mom and us. And then when she left, I was with my aunt.
Okay.
But my aunt on my father's side. I used to collect birds and things, right? And I had a puppy named Patsy. and nice dog and everything. Patsy got pregnant and Patsy had puppies, right? And at the time I was living with my aunt, and I'm not mentioning the name, but she was a police officer in the constabulary force. Well, one day I noticed that the dog had a sore on his hind part, and I asked her, I said, come look at this, auntie. And she looked at it, she said, the dog have cancer, I said, well, what can we do? Can we get some juice? She said, no, we have to put him down, right? I said, what do you mean? She said, we have to kill her, And I said, but she just had puppies. She said, well, it's either that or, or anyhow. Somebody else, another tenant was living in the house, and he had a weapon. And she went and got his weapon. And she tell me to call the dog from under the house, right?
What?
So me start ball and all of this, and so me call Patsy out and call Patsy from under the house, and Patsy come out. And then she said, all right, go over in the backyard. And I go out and I just hear boom. She shot the dog.
What a trauma.
Yeah, she shot the dog. And rage come up in on me one time, right? So I said, so what you want me to do with the puppies? She said, dig the hole for the mother and just throw them in there. Yes. So I said, okay, and me that I dig the hole and me I cry and stuff, I dig the hole and me come back, and she said, all right, go under there and get the puppies. And me said, no. So right away, it's problems that. So me say no, and then me start walk back. We used to save bottles for the and the crate them.
Yes.
And we had stacks of them. You know what I mean? And I just went and stood by there, and I said, get the puppies and throw them in the hole, right? I said, no. And she started coming on to say, me say, every buckle what it did, they find it mark in her head, and the daughter come out, and the daughter get licked, everybody get licked, and she called the neighbor to come out and try. She called the man with the gun for trying, and everybody
get licked.
Everybody get licked with
How
the
old were
G
you?
bottle. in my teens.
Mhm.
In the teens. So anyhow, that happened, and then she, start ball and thing, and say, well, you are crazy. He's going mad. So, and thank God it was my mother's house. So they had to leave. I was left in the house by myself.
Wow.
Me and my sister.
Older, younger sister?
Younger. They got in touch with my father, and my father said, "Oh, no, come down." I said, "No, I'm not leaving the house." And so I told my sister, I said, "You go down." So my sister went with the father.
And where was he living?
On Outlook Avenue.
And you were in Rollington Town at the time?
No, I was in Vineyard Town.
Oh, you were in Vineyard Town?
On Vineyard Road,
Okay.
yeah. My house was right before the South Camp Road airfield,
Okay.
the strip. So, yeah, man. So, all that time, the sister hadn't left yet. So I would get up and braid her hair and thing and make sure she got to school.
Wow.
And then I get her gloves, 2 gloves. And put hole in
Oh,
the
to feed the
glove.
puppies.
To feed the puppies. And I would feed the puppies every morning before I walk up to Excelsior. And I'd come down lunchtime because it was a jaunt from
Right.
Excelsior, and I'd come down lunchtime and feed them, and then I would go get home and feed them and so forth. So 2 puppies died, and the rest of them grew up and I give them away, right?
Wow.
And by that time, my sister left and went down to live with my father. So I was at this house collecting rent from tenants, And so, I mean...
So you're a big man long time?
Long time. I didn't even have toys. I had 1 tricycle that I can remember. 1 tricycle. And was the only toy I ever got. And I cherished that tricycle till somebody take it and throw it away. So I didn't have a childhood, so to speak.
Okay.
That's why I didn't kill this little boy inside.
Mm-hmm.
This little boy do foolishness, do silly things, play, all of that. You know what I mean? So I give thanks because I think the little boy is keeping me in little boy spaces.
Hey, listen, man, you gotta keep that child inside there.
Yeah,
The child is the wonder that is in you.
Exactly.
When you lose that, you lose wonder, you lose dreams.
Yes.
It's all gone.
Yes.
It's all gone because the truth is, we are all children.
Yes.
You went to Excelsior.
Yes.
I heard you mention Excelsior.
Yes, Excelsior.
How were your years at Excelsior?
Exceptional. Because it was where I really started my growing period. Had a lot of good friends there. Did a lot of sports there.
Sports? Talk to me about that because somehow me never see us as sportsmen.
Really?
No, man.
No, me was a bicyclist,
Oh, really?
Yes, I used to ride fixed wheel big time. I used to stop the fixed wheel with my
With your
foot.
foot.
You go back. Yeah, man, and used to do track. And I tried a hand at pole vaulting, but it wasn't for me. So it was track and field.
What did you run?
The 100-yard dash. 50 yard and 100
Okay,
yard
let me
dash.
just fix that for the young people who don't know what yard is. Long before we had 100 meters, we had 100 yard. Maths is not my strong suit. So you have to go look it up
Do the
exactly
calculation.
but just so you understand what the 100-yard dash was. I ran 100-yard dash. So yes, me kind of up in that age too. And I was not good at it. But you clearly were.
Yeah, man. And then I used to cycle up at stadium, I had to
Okay.
learn how to really use that course.
The angle.
Yes, the angle, And then I was a part of the Explorers Corps. That was the first time I jumped out a plane with parachute.
Okay, tell me about the Explorers Corps. What was that?
It was like a boys' corps,
kind of like Boy Scout or
So,
Boy
yeah,
Brigade.
yeah. But it was this guy who I think was, I've forgotten his name now, but he, I think, was an ex-military guy.
Mhm.
So he started this Explorers Corps, and I joined, and part of it was parachuting and stuff. And the first time me parachute, me nearly killed myself because afraid catch me, and it was Cessnas we were jumping out of, and I jumped out and pulled the ripcord right away, which means that everything went up,
Upshoot, yeah.
and the parachute missed the tail of the plane. I was so much. But listen, my eyes are closed, so after me pull the ripcord, my eyes are closed, so You know, and it's like, okay, I open my eyes and all right, I was going down.
Mhm.
It's like, okay, this is cool, and I go down and say, all right, I'm going to lick soon, so I better get under my belt what I'm going to do with the roll and so forth. Because you don't roll, you don't drop and stand up, you
Yeah,
drop
and
and
roll.
roll.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Where do I go? So me just glad to meet the ground.
The
And
ground,
roll.
as opposed to the ground meeting you.
Exactly. And then I went up a second time and it was better. I did a little bit of free falling then, and it was like flying.
You
You
know,
know?
I tell you something. It's one of those things that when I was younger, I'm fearless.
Mhm.
Because believe me, I was fearless. I was a very fearless person. I wanted to do. And I had some friends who were in the JDF, the Jamaican Army, for those who don't know, who, they used to fly and all of that. And they convinced me to do it, and I was fine, and I was getting ready to go. And the week before I was supposed to go, there was an accident with one of the instructors.
Mhm.
And me said, no, sir, me not going up there.
Mhm.
No, I love zip lining, and I love heights, actually. I'm a weirdo that way.
Right.
So it's not the height, but I think that just put the fear in me, and
Yeah.
I just never got past it to
Yeah.
say, because I'm not afraid. I always tell people I'm only afraid of gunman and dentists.
Yeah.
They don't do things I fear.
Yeah.
But jumping out of a plane, I'm not so sure I want to do that anymore.
Anything daring, I like, and I think I got that from my mother.
Oh,
Of all people, I think I got that from. It was like the excitement of it all. It's like
the
if God went,
adrenaline rush.
yeah, if God went take you now, so be it. But you had fun while you were leaving. you
I
know?
think for me, it's just this idea that I shouldn't be afraid of anything.
Yeah,
Things should fear me.
Exactly.
And you know what? It might be small people syndrome.
Well, who
Because,
knows?
you know,
Who knows?
I don't have that issue.
Yeah.
So from Excelsior, where did you go after that?
From Excelsior, I went in '68. Mom sent for us, and we landed in Mount Vernon,
Okay,
New
so in
York,
New York.
Mount
Yes.
Vernon, New York. But there, you couldn't just go into college. You had
Right.
to do a.
Yeah,
So
you had to
I
do-
ended up the oldest person in 12th grade. And then everything they were covering there, I had done here
Mhm. In Jamaica.
primary school, and it's like, really? And so I got so thoroughly bored with just like my Spanish class. Where they were in Spanish class, it was like basic Spanish, and I was like third level
Right.
Spanish because Mr. Fankong at Excelsior teach me all the Spanish that I could absorb, So anyhow, I got to the guidance counter and said, look, and we know you're bored and so forth. You just have to do this to get the paper. I say, all right. So I went to the classes and so on, and then ended up teaching when the teacher went out.
Because you knew more
Because
than
I
them.
knew more than them. So did that, graduated, and then went to college in Boston. I went to a 2-year college first, and then went to BU, and all of that was in Boston, and that's where I did all my growing up,
Okay.
the real growing up, and found a spiritual alignment and all of that, because it's college, you're on your own, so you're
Mhm.
getting everything from all around the world.
And you have to distill what is for you and what is not
Exactly. And the thing about that was, when I graduated, I didn't owe a dime.
for you.
Why?
Wow.
Because my mother was playing partner. And then I had a work study program in college, so that money went to the other half of the tuition.
Nice.
So I was chef in the kitchen. All the people then would wake up at 6 o'clock. Come on, if you come and have Jeff pancake.
Hold on. But to stop right there, so. Because me never know say you're a good cook. So somewhere along the line, with friendship, homegirl have to get a meal. Okay, let me just make this real clear. Homegirl have to get a meal because me love my belly. Like a good Jamaican,
Yeah.
me love my belly.
Listen, man,
Right.
listen. My father is the one who cooked.
Okay.
He would not let my mom in the kitchen when he's cooking. I mean,
Okay.
he was like the best.
My dad was an excellent
Yes,
chef too.
yes.
My mom was a good cook, but my dad was like a chef.
Exactly. And so I would watch him. The thing is, he wouldn't teach me nothing. It's my mother when she in there and she tell me this is what you do. You don't put rice in a cold water. Make sure the water start boil first and then you put it in and then you stir it one time and this and this and this and she teach me everything and all the little innards, But then I'd watch my father and his thing. What he used to do. He didn't know I was observing him.
Yeah, that's sometimes the best way to learn.
Exactly.
But as you talk about your mother and your father,
Mhm.
and this is a conversation, this is not an interview, so we're going to be all over the place. I want to talk about your heritage
Mhm.
because we're
Mhm.
talking about your mother and your father.
Yeah,
And
man.
it is clear you have some Chinese, and it is clear you have some other stuff. And,
Other
and your
stuff.
last name is Gunter.
Gunter.
And Gunter, which we know is German. What's the heritage there? What's from your mom? What's from your dad? How we end up with this beautiful
blend.
beautiful blend that we have right here. So,
All right. So, dad was German, Jew, black,
okay.
and some European, which included Welsh,
Wow.
right? And mom was Chinese, full Chinese from Jiangdong.
Okay.
Yeah.
Same era my grandfather came from.
Exactly.
Right.
I think most of Jamaicans
Most of them
Chinese.
came from
yeah,
Guangdong,
yeah,
yeah.
What do you call it? Guangdong?
Guangdong.
Guangdong.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But
And
my grandfather actually lived in Hong Kong, but he was from Guangdong.
yes, yes. And then my mother's maiden name was Young, which I think is a bastardization of Jung.
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 Mhm.
Yeah. And so she was that, and then she came, her father came here and went down and found some nice, very black blue woman that was maroon and had a fabulous time, and that got my mother.
Oh, so you have maroon
A
blood
maroon
too.
dede. So I am that mixture, European, specific German Jew,
Asian.
maroon
Chinese.
and Chinese.
All right.
That's me. So this is what it looked like.
So you are what we really mean when we say out of many one.
I mean, you want to say I did the DNA thing?
Mhm.
One set of different things are going on. I say what? And then the main portion of that was Nigerian.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it is the Nigerian first, and it was the Igbo tribe, Nigerian, and then the Chinese.
I hear that from a lot of people. I haven't done it.
Yeah,
I guess I don't trust them with my DNA, but
yeah,
but a lot of my friends who are of African descent,
Yeah.
like most of us here in Jamaica, or at least have African descent in our lineage,
yeah,
African ancestry in our lineage, Nigeria
Yeah.
seems to come up a lot, which is interesting because everything we were taught was West Africa.
yeah. Well, Ghana is the other part
I
of
know,
that.
but I'm just
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
everything that we were taught
Exactly.
growing up was West Africa.
Exactly.
Nothing at all beyond Ghana
Ghana.
and
Yeah,
that area.
yeah.
So that is very, very cool that as we find out more about who we are
yeah,
as
yeah,
people,
yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
we're learning things and that's why we have to teach ourselves. We have
Exactly.
to teach each other.
Exactly.
Because
exactly.
when the man is teaching you, the man teach you what the man wants to teach
Exactly.
you.
Exactly.
Right? But we won't go there.
Which brings me to the hat, because the hat is Ghanaian
Okay.
and is from the Fulani tribe, and I went there to dance in 1971, and they gifted me with 7 of these.
Wow.
And they were all, the biggest one come out to here. So it's like smaller one than this, this size, and they're all ceremonial hats that they use for different things. But it's a Fulani hat,
Oh.
and a lot of people, because of the shape, thinks it's Chinese, but
Oh.
it's African. It's
Because
Ghanaian.
that's kind of like a signature for you.
Yeah, man.
The very first time we met was at Caribbean Lens Film Festival
Yes,
in
yes.
Hollywood, where one of our films was involved in Caribbean Lens.
Yes.
And so we had gone, myself, my husband Michael, and Andrew, my assistant director and lead actor, we had gone. And before I even spotted your face, that's what I spotted. Was the hat. and that hat is like is synonymous
Yes.
with Jeffrey Anderson Gunter. So
Yes.
you have
yes.
7 of them.
Yeah,
It's wonderful.
Yeah. And Luciano and Bob wear them.
Yes.
Bob used to wear them, and
Yes.
Luciano wear it. So.
Luciano wears them.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
I've seen him in them all the time.
Is that staple thing?
So, Mr. Hollywood actor, that you're actor, writer, director, all of that.
Wait, hold on. I like to say Mr. Actor who happens to live in Hollywood.
Who happens to live in
Yeah,
Hollywood.
because
Okay.
they breed out, go on there with all the
Okay.
no.
So let's clarify that.
Yeah.
Mr. Actor who lives in Hollywood.
Yes.
I'd love to get your journey, how you ended up in Hollywood. And before I get the journey, let me just say this, that you were in Jamaica for the Jamaica International Faith Film Festival, which is a festival that my husband and I, through Barry Vision, our film company, and Jamaica Youth for Christ, we host this festival. So you came for that festival. And at the festival, Andrew Jones, which is one of the Barry Vision team, but also one of the Youth for Christ team, he mentioned something that I thought was it was gripping for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because you never know how or when you influence somebody.
True.
Right?
Very
because
true.
most of the time, you don't meet them for them to tell you.
Exactly.
They may tell somebody else.
Right.
And he was excited because he got the opportunity to tell you how you influenced him as a child.
Mm-hmm.
And that as a child, well, older child, watching Mark for Death with
Mm-hmm.
Steven Seagal.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, when young men watch a movie, they always want to be the star.
Right.
None of them wanted to be Steven Seagal.
Right,
They
right.
all wanted to be you.
Right.
Because it was the first time that he saw a Jamaican playing an authentic role,
Mm-hmm.
and he could relate
Mm-hmm.
to that person.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And for a lot of people, when they think of you, that's the first thing, because that was like maybe one of the larger things that they know right off the top of their,
Right. Right.
top of their
Right.
head, involving you, or one of the first times
Right.
that they saw you in a major role.
Right.
How did you get to Hollywood? How did you get that particular role?
I went to Hollywood in 1986, and I'm going to tell you what happened. I mean, we are talking.
Yeah, man, we're talking.
I was living in the Bronx. I was in a Broadway show called Reggae, right? And at the time, I had a job on Canal Street at AT&T on the NBC account, because at the time, all the signals went through the telephone lines.
Oh, right. Yeah, back in the day.
Before anything changed. So I was there on the NBC account, and I was doing reggae, and I was coming down. I was on the Broadway show and working in the day. You know what I mean? Because it didn't make sense to me. There was no logic in me doing the show at night, getting home by 12, and then sitting the whole day.
Yes, it makes no sense.
Right.
Furthermore, we're Jamaicans. We have to have 3 jobs.
Exactly.
Remember in Living Color?
Living Color. Yeah,
Yeah. Being you only have 1 job.
Exactly.
Yes.
I was never offended by that, because it's like, because if we want the nice things and support me, 2-3 jobs, yeah, man. So anyhow, I'm working at on the NBC account and doing the show at night. And coming down the elevator one day, I was on the 14th floor. The 16th floor is the top. And coming down the elevator one day, went in the elevator. There was this one guy, he was a Caucasian guy. And we're going down, and got to the next floor, and there's a lot of stuff. So he said to me, I saw you last night. You were very good. I said, excuse me. He said, no, I saw the show last night. I said, oh. I said, thanks for coming, so forth and so on. Then he said, I always wanted to be a part of the entertainment business. I said, oh, what you do? He said, I play the trombone. I said, nice. I said, well, why don't you do it? He said, no, man, I get, into a hole. I got married, got kids, this and this. I have no time for it. And so I said, no, man, no, you must, that is your passion. You must just pick it up and do it on your spare time, despite the kids. And he said, yeah. I said, no, man. But the bottom line, which was in the village at the time, they have jam sessions down there every weekend. All you have to do is take your trombone, go down there, and just go in. Just jam with them guys. It will free you up, and so forth. And he said, yeah, I might try it and so forth. And I said, all right, okay. By the time we reached the ground floor. So I come off and I said, take it easy. And he said, all right. And then the security guard come to me and he say, Jeffrey, you know him? I said, no, we're just talking on the elevator. He said, you don't know who that is? I said, no. He said, that is the president of AT&T.
Wow.
I said, what? He said, yes, that is the president. And so it sort of engendered a definite confirmation. You must follow this dream because you will end up like this man who just have a yearning now and he's trapped. Anyhow, one Sunday, the sun wake me up coming through the blind. The sun wake me up out of my sleep. And I was just about to open my eye. And you might think I'm crazy, folks. You might think I'm crazy, but it really happened. I'll swear on stacks of Bibles. But I'm almost over my eye. And I hear, you need to go to California. And my cat Celeste was on the bed, right? And I look at Celeste, and Celeste looked at me like, what's up? So, and I'm like, okay, I must have been dreaming. I just came out of the dream and so forth, right? So I got up and I closed the blinds and I put my head back down, right? And about 5 seconds, you need to go to California. I mean, audibly.
Yes.
Audibly.
I believe
hear
you.
this thing,
I
right?
believe you.
And then I jump up that time and I sit on the side of the bed. I say, all right, what is going on? And I jump up and went outside and I went to the other side of the, where my roommate is. I knock on the door and him come out and him like, I said, did you just come in? I said, you just woke me up. I said, you didn't come in? No, you just woke me up. So I went back into the room and I sit on the side of the bed and I look at Celeste and I say, Celeste, we're going to California. And made the decision that day, gave notice to NBC that week, gave notice to a Broadway show.
Wow.
Right? Packed my things in a barrel, had a little party, send-off party. Everybody thought I was stark, scary, and mad. Everybody. And
there's a thin line, between genius and crazy. There is a thin line.
Yeah,
And sometimes it overlaps.
Yes. But it was so strong, this thing, this drive. It's like, no, you're finished here.
Yeah.
You need to move on. I mean, I know nobody in California. Didn't know a soul. So anyhow, I followed the voice. I got the one-way ticket, pack up my barrel with my crystal and so forth. Have little Celeste with me. Have my clothes. And one-way ticket, got to LAX, put this stuff in a locker.
A locker.
Right? And text Celeste. I went outside, went to the automated thing for the newspaper, get the newspaper, open it to the classified rentals, and do some. And I saw 2446 Lexington Avenue and the number. And this was like 9 o'clock at night. And I called the number, right? And the guy get on the phone, hola. And I said, hola, ¿cómo está? Bien, ¿Quieres? And then we go into the whole thing. I mean, look for an apartment and all of this and so forth. And him say him have one and all this. All of this is in Spanish. And then him say, all right, come, because I'll still be awake when you get here. So come. And the security, there was a security for $500, right? And then a key deposit. And me and Celeste, we went to 46 Lexington Avenue, right? And walk in, I forget the man's name. I forget his name. But him open the door and I'm looking, he's see? And I said, my name Jeff. And him look and say, who's that? I said, yes, it's me. So he said, okay, come in. And then I fill out like a piece of paper. Someone give me $500 right on the first month rent. And he took me up to the apartment on the second floor. Went inside, pea green carpet, no electricity, checkered couches. It was furnished. I was big time.
No electricity.
No, you had to go turn it on yourself after you rent it, So went in there and I put Celeste down in the middle of the floor and I said, Celeste, we're there home. I made an appointment with Kelly Service and I was on Lexington Avenue and Cole, which is in Hollywood proper. The Kelly Services was in Westwood, right? On Hollywood, on Santa Monica Boulevard. So me and my bride self say, oh, Santa Monica Boulevard, you must have just done something, right? Listen, Me dressing in my nicest Louis Vuitton, I have me like a bag and ting, and step out and start walk.
Santa Monica Boulevard is so long.
2.5 hours later, me walk from Hollywood to Westwood.
Wow, that's a very long walk.
Long.
Being familiar with the area, that is a very, very, very long walk.
Talk about sweat. And it's summer to talk about sweat and get up there and me just catch them because they were about to close. Take the test them and so forth and them, them register me and all that. Needless to say, me never walk go back. Me find out bus, we would bus and go back. Anyhow, they found me a job with FNN, right? And it stood for Financial News Network at the time, and this was in Culver City. Started at FNN as a receptionist. 4 months later, the manager came and said, "You know how to work computers?" Of course. Yes, of course, right? And I said, "What do you need?" They said, "Well, if me know anything about scrambling," I said, "No, Uncle Eggs." And they said, no. They said, "All right, it's something like that, but it's not. It has nothing to do with cooking." They said, "What we'd like to do is send you to school." Right, so you can learn how to scramble, and then we'd like you to handle this department. I said, "Oh, sure."
So you weren't acting at the time.
Still acting.
Okay.
Yeah, but the thing is, since I've just gotten there, my
Right.
only thing was teaching accents.
Okay.
I was teaching acting, teaching voice and articulation, and teaching accents.
Okay.
Right? So we go to the school. I start handling the scrambling department, and then tell me we can hire 6 people. So of course 6 of my good friends there were me fine.
Of course, hello.
Bring them in. So we started working and so forth. Then in my the accents, right? The guy that came, he wants to learn a Jamaican accent. He was told that. I said, "Yeah, man, come." And we started teaching him, and me I tell him how to say this and say that. And before he left, I was so kind. He was so kind. He said, "You're very good. You should go on for this." I said, "I don't know what it is. I don't have an agent or anything." He said, "No, I'll give you the number." So forth. He was very kind, right? Because people don't do that usually. So he gave me the number, and I said, "All right, man. Thank you. If you need any more help, let me know." And then gone through the door, boom, on the phone, boom, 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 boom. And I called, and I represented myself as my own agent.
Your own agent.
Yes, get in. And they gave me a time for 2 o'clock the next day, right? And then it was just up the street from where I live. So I could really walk there. So I walked there, went up, it was what is now the CNN building in Hollywood. And I went upstairs and got the size, and I went in and read. One excitement. And we need, can you come back at 3 o'clock? I said, "Sure," and they said, "Please," So we just go have some coffee or something, and then went back up there. And they put me in the room, and it was Steven Seagal I was reading with.
Wow.
Yeah. So I started reading. Him get excited, and it's like, "Oh no, I gotta have you in this film." Da, 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 da. And I can't give you the lead though because you're not tall enough. The fight scenes would be ridiculous, So I say, whatever, man. Give me anything, So he combined 3 roles.
Wow.
He combined 3 roles to give me my role because he wanted me in this film. Then when they get in there, him wanted me to be the liaison between the real Jamaicans because let me go find all of the Jamaicans in Hollywood, right? He wanted me to be the liaison between them and him because they couldn't understand him, right? So he came in. I went in. And we started and negotiated my own contract, right? So I was getting paid for the show, the role,
right,
as the liaison and
accent coach.
Yes, all of that. And 2 months I did that film. That got me my first house in Hollywood and my first car. In Hollywood.
What a story!
All right.
What a story!
Yes,
what a story!
yes.
What a story! That's when things line up.
Yeah.
That is divine intervention.
Yeah, man. It's my divine order.
That is divine order, man.
Yeah.
there are not a lot of people like us who can just get up and go and not question the direction that you know in your heart is the direction.
Right.
Like my husband and I, we live in Panama now, as you know, and we literally went down there for 3 days, came back, sold everything we had in the States, and left.
Yeah.
You know, because we knew. And one of my favorite sayings is, "I'm not a tree, I can move."
Mm.
And I truly believe that if we can just muster, it's not even courage,
Mhm,
just
mhm.
believe in ourselves enough.
Yeah, it's that part. That
Just
belief.
believe
Yeah.
That yes, you know what,
Yeah.
and if things don't work out, you will
Make
come
another
again.
choice. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. It's
Yeah.
not a big deal.
But we're so sold on it has to be right. You
Yes.
have to, if you're going to do the work, it has to be. No, it doesn't.
We're sold on stability.
Exactly.
And I do this, air quotes.
Exactly.
Because we're sold on this idea that if we don't get this job, stay in this job, walk this particular path, and it's fine for some people.
Yeah.
But they've tried to sell it to everybody.
Yeah.
And it's not a wholesale item.
Not at all.
It is not a wholesale, because it don't work for me.
Exactly.
Right?
The thing to realize is if it's not working for you, that is your learning.
Yes.
Then you look at it, it's like, okay, what did I learn to put me on the right path? So it's always a win-win situation.
Every experience is learning. Every experience is about learning.
Exactly.
You know, so we kind of jumped forward, back, round and round.
Is that
right? But how did you become interested in acting in the very first place?
It found me. It was not a choice. It was, I need to follow the realization of what was given to me. The gift that I discovered, I need to act on it so that I can become and, start paying God back for what He gave me. Because my gift back to Him is to exercise the gift He gave me and make it reality.
Use it all.
Yeah.
Use it all.
Yes, So I didn't. It wasn't anything I chose. It was part of why. I mean, the first major thing I did was at Excelsior, the Old Man of the Sea from Sinbad the Sailor.
Mm-hmm.
I lied to my father that I was doing extra lessons in the evenings so I could rehearse and all that. But at the last performance of that show, in the hall at Excelsior, and I take the bow. And I come up, and my father was at the back of the hall and just pointed in my face, so. And I knew exactly what it meant, exactly what it meant. And then we went home, and then said to me, why are going to say I'm going to beat you? Why I'm going to beat you? I said, no, that him say, it's not because of your work, because you did good work, but you disobeyed me, so I'm going to beat you. And then, he put me in the room. I was take off the strap, and then my mother came in and intervened. If you put one hand on that boy, there's me and you tonight. So from then, I just pursued, because in 67, right, my mom took me to see this movie, One Potato, Two Potato, at the Rialto Theatre. And I saw, that was my first time seeing black people on screen.
Wow.
In a very professional fashion. So after seeing that movie, walking home, and I said, Mama, that is what I want to do. And she said, well, become a servant. I said, no, I want to be an actor, She said, okay, let's see what we can do about that. And from that time, about 30 years later, I'm in New York, left college, get the papers and give it to my mother, say hang them up, and I went down to New York City. Then a friend of mine called me and said, we have a workshop, do you want to join? It's Clay Stevenson's Players Workshop, and this was in the heart of Manhattan. So we joined, and we had people like Wesley Snipes and Eric LaSalle, and people who are luminaries today was in that workshop. And this guy came to me and said, this woman is looking for somebody who can sing, dance, and act and have a West Indian accent. Do you want to go? I said, sure, So I went down, and they handed me a grass skirt, and went in, did the audition.
And back up. To the grass skirt.
Apparently, the grass skirt was for the dance audition.
Okay.
Yes.
What is it, like some Tahiti or some...
No, well, it was Mustafa Matura's play Mass,
Okay.
and there was a witch doctor scene,
Okay.
and so I had to do my thing with the witch doctor scene and in the witch doctor scene. So, after I auditioned and I was there for like 2.5 hours, right? And a lady came in and said, "Okay, everybody, see you tomorrow at 10 o'clock." And I said, "Is that the call back?" She said, "No, darling, you've been hired, you've been working." I said, "Well." So I started working there and did several shows, and in the show Alice is the one that the Post did an article on me. I was a Cheshire Cat in Alice and a bunch of other things, and the Post did a nice article and then ended it with 1 potato, 2 potato, and I saw that and I'm like,
same lady.
yeah. It's like I went to her. It's like, are you? So yeah, it was the same lady I saw. Same lady I saw 30 years ago.
Divine lineup.
I tell you. So it's I live by that now. I live by that. I always listen to that inner voice, that voice of your soul. I always listen to it.
That voice is God talking to you.
Definitely.
That
Definitely.
is your spirit lined up.
Yeah, man.
And when we don't listen to that voice, is when we go wrong.
We go in trouble.
There is and I'm going to draw for some scripture, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a scripture that says that the steps of a righteous man are ordered by the Lord, right? And I always tell people, I don't spend all this time asking God, is this where you want me to go? Because if my steps are ordered, then all I have to do is walk.
And thank him.
I just have to walk and say thanks.
Yeah.
Because you ordered it already and you line it up.
Yeah.
So I just need to walk.
Exactly.
So people wonder how I do so much and I'm involved. I just walk.
Exactly.
I literally just live my life by faith and just walk straight.
Exactly.
Because if I walk in front of me, God done line it up.
Exactly.
And if something in the way, He's going to move it out of the way, or He's going to give me the wings to fly over.
Exactly.
He's going to give me the shovel to go under.
Yeah.
He's going to, whatever it takes, I'm going to continue walking.
Exactly.
Because this is the path.
Exactly.
This is the path. So what am I looking left and right for? I'm just going to keep walking.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about your passions now. Because I'm all about passions. A lot of the things that I do, I'm a marketing consultant by profession, but that is just to pay the bills.
Right.
I follow my passions everywhere they go.
Yes.
Because for me, life without passion is not living. And I think we're similar when it comes to that whole thing of following your passions.
Yeah,
and you have a passion in 2 areas that I know about that you're very passionate. One is dealing with hearing impaired, and the other one is at-risk youth within your community. Tell me about these passions.
I feel that the amount of knowledge that I have to this point acquired, if it's not shared, it's wasted. So my real passion is to pass on as much of what I know about this business, about life, about anything that will assist in the generations to come, to pass it on.
Yes.
And nurture the ones that are getting it so that they will then have something to pass on. Because the basics of the universe remains the same.
Yes, they do.
So every time a new generation comes around, the fads might change and so forth. I can remember when we had bell bottoms and things and afros. Yes, now them pants is falling down halfway down them waist.
They've moved on, man. Them into these tight pants.
Yes, that is high water.
You have to paint them on. You get up every morning and paint on the pants. Them.
And what our parents used to say, like, what is this? We heard them say, what is this?
Before you even go on, that is something that I talk about all the time. When I hear people our age, my age, your age, our age, talking about, what that you have on? And I have to remind them, I say, hello, You never used to wear miniskirts.
That's right.
You never wear hot pants.
That's right.
You know, what are we talking about? Remember when I almost call them transparent, see-through shirt that just come in, and you wear a little tank top or a little tube top. I said, what is different?
That's right.
Nothing is new under the sun.
Right.
It's just that you have gotten older, so your perspective changed.
Exactly.
But the fashion has changed.
Exactly.
The fashion has not changed. You come right back around, but your perspective changed.
Yeah, man, the fashion is cyclical. It you know, because I am so happy that I have all the things that is now in vogue. And still,
kept them. You kept them.
Yes, I kept them, you know. And then my people want to come and raid my place. You know, I mean, it's like, no, this is my stuff, you know. So it's good. But I mean, so getting the word, it's like the African griot system. Right, where you know you have to hand down the generational stories that allowed the tribe to maintain themselves and their self-sufficiency and all of that. So that is one of my main passions, and to immerse myself into a universe, the universe of hearing impaired folks, you know, and let them know that we are here, we are hearing, but we know that you are as equal to us, you know, as our fellow hearing people, you know, that they're not thought of in the right light is now coming together slowly because they're insisting, look at me, I am a person too, I'm a human too, and I have a culture too, you know, I don't have to change to yours. Why can't you change to mine? Why can't you learn?
Include me.
Or include me, exactly.
And ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about hearing impaired persons because Jeffrey knows American Sign Language and he works a lot with that deaf community. And while in Jamaica, for the Jamaica International Faith Film Festival, JIF Festival, we actually took films to one of the hearing impaired communities, the Christian School for the Deaf. And it was, for me, just so remarkable to see him communicating with the students while they were there.
All right, let me tell you how I got into sign language. There was an idle moment, a moment that I don't ever have, right? But there was an idle moment. I'm in the middle of my living room on the carpet, me and my dogs, and we're watching the news, right? And Marley Matlin came on. Marley Matlin is the actress who is hearing impaired. Right. He's deaf. Mm-hmm. And she came on, and she was on a show where she played a lawyer, a deaf lawyer.
Yes,
you remember
I remember that?
Yeah. And she came on the news, and they had an interview, and she was signing, and I'm looking at her going, dang, that's pretty. I like that. I want to do that. Right? So the next day, I called all around to see who offered anything on American Sign Language and got in touch with Santa Monica College, who said that, oh, no, we don't charge anything. Just come on down and we'll sign you up because it's a community offering. Yeah. So I said, okay, good, you know. And then I thought, I don't know any deaf people. Who am I going to sign to? You know? So
it's kind of like my friend's mother who bought the truck ever before she even learned how to drive. But go ahead.
Yeah, right. So I said, all right. So I call up my friends. I call Ova Babatunde, who's an actor as well. I called Cisco and Kiki Shepherd, right? And I said, come on, we're going to learn sign language. She said, why? I said, because we don't know it. We will enhance what it is, our facility, and just add something to what we can do and so forth. Yes, exactly. You know, they said, okay, let's do it. You know, it don't cost nothing. I said, no, it don't cost nothing. It's okay, let's do it, right? We headed down to Santa Monica College, and for 6 weeks, right, we were down there learning, and we're in the gym because I taught. I was a trainer in the gym, and we're in the gym and we're working out. And I said, nobody talks; it's only signing, right? And we're signing to each other, and everybody thought we were a bunch of deaf people. Right? So I would go to an audition, and some of the people in the gym who saw us signing, it's a hearing audition, and they're looking at me like, this guy is deaf. What are you doing here? Right? So I go in, and then they hear my voice and going through the audition and so forth. And I come out there looking at me like, dude,
you can
thought you were deaf. You could. I said, I didn't tell you I was deaf. No, So anyhow, the audition came up for the first ever production of Mice and Men, right? And they were looking for people who could speak and sign because it's a rarity. I mean, in the annals of American Sign Language. So I went down an audition and I said, "This is my first time. I don't know what to do." They said, "Do you sign?" I said, "I just learned, so I don't know if I'm going to be any good, but I'll try." They said, "Don't worry about it," and I did my best. It was the most horrible signing because, listen, because in American Sign Language you have ASL, which is American Sign Language, ASL. Then you have Sign English,
Okay.
right? Because Sign English would be signing exactly what I'm saying right now. But if I'm talking about standing on a principle, right? This standing is different. This is like me standing up,
Right.
right? But standing on a principle is believing. So I'd have to sign believe, not
Right.
standing. You know what I mean? So that's the difference. So I didn't know all of that, right? So anyhow, I went. They gave me a script, and on one side they had the actual dialogue, and the other side they had what the sign was for it in words, and that's how I really got proficient, right? So I did that production, and time came for the curtain call, and I didn't hear a thing. And I said, "Oh God, them hate it. I don't want to go. Them hate the play. I don't." And so time come for me to go out, and I look up and I pray and say, "Jesus, just get me through this," right? And I went out on stage, I stood in the middle of the stage, and they were like this. They were
That's
like
why you
this.
didn't hear anything.
Yeah, and they were so happy. And when they saw me start crying, they started stomping their feet and all that. And then I just stood in the middle of the stage and I just bawled because I never got that. I never received that kind of adoration, and from a totally different community.
Right.
So that validated my going into this thing, not knowing anybody in the community. And here we have in front of me a whole bunch of people ready to embrace me, So it was very emotional.
And
for
also
me.
loving what you did without hearing your voice.
Exactly.
Without
Which
ever
means
hearing
they
your voice.
understood everything I
Yes,
signed.
they understood it, and it
Yeah.
also means that your whole body, everything about you, came across to them.
Exactly. And then I was using both sides of my brain, because there's a sign for action and a sign for vocals, and
Right.
I was using both sides, right? Anyhow, so I finished that and did many things after that, but that moment specifically it solidified the reason that I am in this business. That kind of response, to elicit that kind of response, whether it's in laughter or whatever, I was doing my job.
And you were making the impact that
Exactly.
you needed to make.
Exactly.
Yes. And I witnessed that firsthand myself on the weekend that just passed when we were doing this interview. So the weekend that just passed was the festival weekend, and I firsthand saw the impact that you had on the hearing impaired community right here with those kids, and how weary they were at first to even, and then you sat down and you started doing,
Signing.
And before I knew it, all the kids were just, and it was really wonderful to watch and to know that it's one thing to connect with people who can connect in the same way with you.
That's right.
But when you have learned how to connect with other people in their way,
exactly,
it is really an amazing thing. So in LA, what exactly do you do with this community?
Well, I mean, I do shows with them.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I direct shows.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, about 2007 or so, I directed the first ever version of For Colored Girls.
Wow.
In American Sign Language.
And you work with at-risk youth as well, right?
Yes, man. Gang members and all of those. And, I had to find a way to get through to them. because I mean, them coming and looking at me, and it's like, this guy, what this guy gonna teach me? He can't teach me nothing, And it's so I had to really, pray on finding a way, and it came to me that they're a visual group. Visual works best for them, so that you can win their trust.
Right.
And that's the first thing. Winning their trust is how you will get through with other things,
Right.
And I was able to show them a few things that I did and, answer all their questions. And so they were then open to receive what I had to give them, And, those two aspects of the work is where my passion lies. Imparting that knowledge as much as I can so that they can, in turn, give it to our other generations
Yes,
coming
and
up.
just to impact lives and change mindsets.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
change thinking.
Definitely,
Emancipating minds from mental slavery, as
Exact-
Marcus said, and
Yes.
Bob made us all remember.
Exactly.
It's such an important thing.
Yeah.
So, what's next?
More of the same, but I'm now shooting a film called Babylon, so that'll be coming out.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm in pre-production for a film about Marcus Garvey.
Okay.
That will be shot here in Jamaica, and it's about a trial that nobody knew about that he won, and the guy that chose to defend him was
An Ashenheim.
Louis Ashenheim.
Yes.
Louis Ashenheim. And the fact that he won that case, and then the friendship that was forged with this Jamaican Jew and this black man, and the fact that the commonality was that they were Jamaicans. Nothing else mattered. We are Jamaicans and we help one another, They were friends until Marcus died in England, But a lot to be told in that time,
Beautiful.
And so it's a lot going on. I also have a thriller that I'm shopping as well that has to do with the Headless Corpse murder back in the 50s.
Wow.
Yeah, which is a true story. And there's a lot of revelations in that.
Wow.
So it's a lot happening.
So there's no retirement coming up, right?
What kind of retirement? I am retired. I'm retired. And all retirement means is I get a retirement check. That's it. But I'm retired.
Well, before we close out, there's something I do want to say, because a lot of people think that because you're in Hollywood, because you're an actor, because you're a face that people know, means that you are always in the limelight and you're working the Hollywood circuit. But I do know that there are actors who are not on every red carpet and are more private.
Right.
And you seem to be one of those. Why have you chosen to stay away from that kind of limelight?
It's not that I choose to stay away. I utilize it when I need to.
Okay.
It's not, I don't aspire to be in the limelight. My work will get me in the limelight whenever I do work. I aspire to get good work.
Okay.
And so it's like, you if you don't pinch me, I won't cry. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So if I don't work, you will not see me in the limelight. When I go into the limelight and it's not my work, then I'm being used in the limelight for somebody else's end. And that's all good and well, but it's not benefiting me unless you're allowing me to use the platform to benefit others. You know what I mean?
Yes, I get you.
So it has to have a reason. It's like when I choose my work, there has to be a redeeming quality about the character I'm playing. Otherwise, it's just an exercise in futility.
And I get that, because whenever I do anything at all, it has to have some value. Some positive value.
Exactly.
It can't just be for entertainment. I don't do anything just for entertainment.
Exactly.
If it's not going to change a life or impact in some positive way or inspiring way, then for me it's a waste of energy and a waste of breath.
Exactly.
Finally, because I didn't touch on this, but I really do want to. You also do voice acting.
Yes, ma'am.
And you've been the voice of many things. What are some of the things that some of the characters you've played in voice, and what are some of the roles that you've had that are memorable for you? Your most memorable roles.
She saved the big one for last, right? All right. If you go to YouTube, you may check out the Kellogg's Cinnamon Apple Jacks commercial.
I love those.
Yes, and I am Cinnamon in that. And let me tell you why the campaign stopped. Somebody wrote into Kellogg's that they found something in the Apple Jacks, right? And X, Y, and Z. And Kellogg's stopped the campaign. And then they come back that it was a hoax. Why are people so cruel, man?
Because people just evil, man.
It's like, come
Just have-
on.
I guess the only answer I have for that is that God created the earth in balance, good and bad. So bad is there, and we have to just live with it, and the wheat and tears just have to grow together till
Oh,
the time
gosh,
of harvest.
man.
But yeah, there's some evil people in the world.
Yeah,
So
that's
that's one of your favorite characters.
Yeah. Playing Kellogg's Cinnamon Apple Jacks. That and I did Only the Strong.
Okay.
I enjoy that character as well. And the most of the characters are on television.
What about
know.
your Arnold's Pizza?
That's the one I was going to mention. I love Arnold's Caribbean Pizza. I love the fact that he hired a bunch of dunderheads.
Nitwits.
But yes, but he loves them so much that he wants to see the best for them, and will figure that if I make them go, then they'll be stupider. So let me keep them and see if I can make them little better, so they can move on and better themselves. So that's the reason I gave the character of Arnold, so that I still have these fool people working with, because I could have fired them a long time.
Time.
But I love that character. as
Famous
well.
last words. Let's have your famous last words. If there's anything you want to tell the world, that is a Jeffreyism. A Jeffreyism.
Listen to your soul's truth, that inner voice. That first thought is your operating thought. It's the first thing that comes to you. Don't second guess yourself, because that sponsoring thought is what will get you through, because that sponsoring thought is God speaking to you. That's the innards of who you are. And take the time to find out exactly who you are in relation to the divine, not necessarily a religion. Really, in relation to, there's an entity that's bigger than all of us, that's responsible for all of us. Take your time and find out who that is. Align yourself with that entity or that space, and then operate from there. Listen to your soul's truth. Your sponsoring thought is your truth. Follow it. That's it.
Jeffrey, I can't think of a better way to end this. Ladies and gentlemen, another living legend. Thank you for joining me, Jeffrey. Thank you for joining me. Enjoy the rest of Jamaica. I know you're going country. Go drink plenty coconut water, eat pear, roast yam and saltfish and everything.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Thank
Ladies and
you.
gentlemen, living legend, Jeffrey Anderson Gunter.